Good afternoon to all of you. I welcome all of you to this Google class. So topic of today's session is rhinosporidiosis. I have already taught you about rhinosporidiosis, the theoretical aspect. So you're going to draw the diagram of the same, and it's like what the mind does not know. So since already you know the theoretical aspect, it's easy for you to learn about it. Okay, so hope you're all ready with the paper and the pencils. Am I audible? This is your classroom. Do you all know where we are? Hope you have not forgotten your classrooms. Let me start drawing the diagram. And since this audio was not recorded, so I'm just trying to voice over for this video. So all of you know what the eyes, what the mind does not know, eyes will not look for. So the theoretical concept is already clear to you, or you can just go back and watch that video again, which I had taken on Monday. This theoretical aspect of rhinosporidiosis. Okay, let's start. Let's draw a circle. So use a compass or use a nice bangle. Okay, let the circle at least be like a circle. Okay, the lesion of rhinosporidiosis we are seeing is really in the nose. So nasal biopsy is sent to us from the clinician. So what do we see microscopically? So let us draw what is the lining epithelium of nasal passages, bronchi and trachea. It is pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. So draw columnar epithelium, a basement membrane and tall columnar epithelium. So just look at the nucleus how I am drawing. So there should not be just dots. So nice oval nuclei. See, one row of columnar cells I have written. Now, so continuing with that, columnar epithelium. So pseudostratified, to show pseudostratified, so 2 layers of cells we are writing. 2 layers of columnar epithelium. Hope it is seen, visible. And to show, say that it is pseudostratified ciliated, cilia have to be written. So I am writing the cilia now. So which project from the surface. So partly we have written pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. Pseudostratified cilia. So that this becomes the normal epithelium of the respiratory passages. So the surface of the lesion could be ulcerated, but here we are showing partly intact epithelium. So what happens when the lesion, when this epithelium is exposed to an inflammatory lesion or chronic irritation, whatever, anywhere the epithelium. So to withstand that, it undergoes metaplasia, that is change of one type of adult epithelium into another type is metaplasia. So now the respiratory type of epithelium, pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium, becomes squamous. So we say that undergoes squamous metaplasia. So let us draw squamous epithelium now. So this becomes stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium. So even this stratified squamous epithelium has basal layer of columnar cells, and as we see the cells which are on top of it, they are all polygonal. They have abundant eosinophilic cytoplasm. So you have to write polygonal cells there. And the nucleus of all these epithelial cells is quite vesicular. So write a nucleus which is vesicular, not just a dot. Okay, vesicular nucleus. So when we talk about squamous metaplasia, you know which is the other. There are so many sites where squamous metaplasia occurs, but another area where squamous metaplasia is seen in respiratory system is the bronchi. So chronic irritation. So what could be the chronic irritation? Just smoking. So that's how respiratory epithelium gets transformed into squamous metaplasia, and that becomes the origin for squamous cell carcinoma occurring in the bronchi, from the bronchi. Otherwise, how squamous cell carcinoma can occur in the lungs? So another cause for squamous metaplasia in the bronchial tree is vitamin A deficiency. So you need to remember read about metaplasia, and I just told you about squamous metaplasia. Change in one type of adult epithelium into another adult type is metaplasia. So remember squamous metaplasia and the causes for the same. Yeah, the topic is rhinosporidiosis. We know that this lesion is caused by Rhinosporidium seaberi, previously thought to be a fungus and now a parasite. Special feature is it's not been cultured in the laboratory, and the surface of the lesion could be ulcerated, but here I have shown you pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium undergoing metaplasia. So how do we make a diagnosis of this in the laboratory? So definitive diagnosis depends on microscopic examination, because we see the organism under microscopy. So biopsy is sent to us and we process and make slides, and in the slides we see 4 different stages in the maturity of the organism. So here we are going to write all the 4 stages in the maturity. So you all remember the 4 stages I had taught you. So all these lie in a background of inflammatory stroma. Though we call this as a chronic granulomatous inflammatory lesion, so we do not see classical granulomas that are seen in tuberculosis or leprosy. Okay, so we are going to write the different forms of the organism. First is the trophic or the young form. So how does this appear? This looks like a round structure. So it has a nice chitinous wall. So let us write about 4 or 5 trophic forms, see, round structures, and make the outer wall homogeneous, pink homogeneous. They usually refractile. So they are the young or the trophic forms, and all these have a central karyosome. Can you appreciate the central bluish nucleus? So this is the young or the trophic form. So label them as the trophic forms. Yes, we have written about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the cytoplasm is quite lacy. Okay, so I am writing the cytoplasm here, which is lacy, lace-like appearance. So 5 trophic forms we have written. So what happens to the trophic forms? So they constantly enlarge, and then the karyosome that is there within the trophic form, it starts dividing. So the karyosome goes on dividing to form numerous endospores, the sporangiospores. See, now it's a large sporangium. I have written 3 sporangia. They're all filled with endospores, the sporangiospores. They're all of the size of RBCs. They're of the size of RBCs. So we're not writing any nucleus within. They're just small RBC sized structures. So what we have written, all these 3 are, so write a chitinous wall, eosinophilic or pink homogeneous outer wall. Yeah, eosinophilic, pink homogeneous outer wall. That should be very nicely seen. So 3 mature sporangia are shown here. So let us label them. They are the mature sporangium. Okay, yes. So what happens to the mature sporangium? They all rupture. So where does it rupture? So rupture is usually nearer the surface. See, that is where I am writing the ruptured form. Write only half a circle. That means there is discontinuity in the outer wall. So it is the ruptured form. And write this ruptured form near the surface or the mucous membrane. That's how I told you, grossly the lesion looks polypoid, but on the polypoid lesion there are whitish specks, whitish marks, dots that represents the presence of these sporangia. See, these are the endospores coming out. This is the ruptured form. So let us label this. See, lot of endospores are liberated. So that is this. Again, mark the outer layer very well. The chitinous wall, let it be eosinophilic or pink, homogeneous, refractile. Okay, so we have shown the young forms, trophic forms, the mature forms, and then the ruptured form. Is it clear now? So ruptured form liberating the endospores. Yes. So let us write another one. What happens after this ruptures? So only the wall remains. How is it to look at? So it looks like a half circle, or you may say it looks like a half moon. So let us label this. That's a ruptured form. Okay, this looks like a half moon, or it could be circular also. So we see only the refractile chitinous wall. So that is a ruptured form. So we have written all the four forms now. This is the ruptured form. Only the chitinous wall, which is eosinophilic, refractile, is seen so well. Sometimes it could appear as round structure only, but inner details are not seen. Only the refractile wall is made out well. So four different stages in the maturity of Rhinosporidium seeberry are shown here. So where are they present? I told you they are present in a background of chronic inflammation. Right? Though we said granuloma, we are not showing representing granuloma. So all the leftover space, let us fill it up with granulation tissue. So what are the components of granulation tissue? I am writing spindle shaped cells. So what do these spindle shaped cells represent? They are all fibroblasts. So they have eosinophilic, we say juicy cytoplasm, because these cells are the ones which produce collagen. Any healed lesion you may see, you see scar tissue, that's nothing but collagen. And all these cells have an oval nucleus. So write an oval nucleus there, and usually that will be plump also. And once these cells become fibrocyte, the nucleus also becomes quite sharp. Okay, so the background I am showing some eosinophilic material, that could be edema. One of the component, chronic inflammation, there may not be much edema, but at least it's one of the component of granulation tissue. Granulation tissue as such could be a short answer question for you. So if you listen to this, you will know what the granulation tissue contains also. So now I have written something. What is it? What is it that is being written? So that's a blood vessel, another component. What blood vessel? Capillary size blood vessel. They all have plump endothelial cells and RBCs also within. So wherever there is space, write capillaries with or lined by plump endothelial cells. Capillaries lined by plump endothelial cells. That's how we know these lesions bleed. Whenever you have a lesion on the, as children I am sure definitely you would have had lesions on the knee, So as it starts healing, when you have itching, you remove the scab, the wound bleeds. So why? Because of the rich capillary network still there are no tight endothelial junctions that are formed. So we have written few congested or say proliferating capillaries. So what else is important? Lot of lymphocytes need to be shown here. Don't again just put dots as lymphocytes. So draw nice round blue structures. All these are lymphocytes, which tells us that it is a chronic inflammatory process, chronic inflammatory lesion. So we are writing many lymphocytes here, plenty of lymphocytes. So it's not a dot, you're writing round structures because lymphocyte is seen so well. See, plenty of lymphocytes. Even you have to write. Yes. Hope you are writing along with me. Visible? Are you able to understand? Okay. Yes. Now, another type of cell which represents chronic inflammation is, what is that cell? Plasma cell. Okay. So, all of you know that B lymphocyte gets transformed to plasma cells. So what do plasma cells produce? Immunoglobulins, antibodies. See, you can keep this round lymphocyte as at the periphery. So write an outer cytoplasm, keeping this nucleus at the periphery, that becomes plasma cell. See, typically plasma cell is round or oval. I have written one oval cell and the other is round, and it has a nucleus which is at the periphery. So we call it as eccentric nucleus. And when we look at the chromatin, chromatin is seen so well. How is it distributed? How does it look? So it could look like a watch dial. So just look at the watch dial, how the markings are there. So the chromatin exactly looks like that. See, look at this. This is cartwheel. So watch dial. So another type is the distribution of chromatin. It looks like cartwheel. So from the center you can see the projections going out. So cartwheel or watch dial appearance. And for these plasma cells, just show eosinophilic cytoplasm. They are not clear, they don't have clear cytoplasm. All of them have eosinophilic cytoplasm. So in between now you start writing plasma cells. Okay, plasma cells need to be written. So now in the background we have shown fibroblasts, proliferating capillaries, lymphocytes and plasma cells. So that is an inflammatory background. At place I have just written edema. I have just shown edema. Okay, so all these different stages in the maturity of Rhinosporidium are situated in a background of chronic inflammatory stroma. Yes. So all the gaps are being filled now. Occasionally there may be eosinophils also. So almost everything is written now. But what happens at the site of rupture of these organisms? When the endospores are liberated. So here the body responds in a different way. So it shows acute inflammatory reaction. Acute inflammation. So if we say acute inflammation, which is a cell characteristic of acute inflammation? They are neutrophils. So you need to draw few neutrophils there. How do you draw? How do you represent neutrophils? So they are larger than the lymphocytes. draw round cells, and then within them draw ant-like structures. You know how the ant body appears, but not just the two humps. So you have to show three, because the nucleus of neutrophil is segmented. So it's a segmented nucleus that we see in neutrophils. So yes, so neutrophils are written at the site where the sporangium has ruptured. Yes. So is this clear now? Have you all written this diagram? I think we'll have a closer look at it later. And this is a 3 marker for you. A neat label diagram has to be there. This is a slide that is given to you for discussion in the practicals also. And now you know theoretical knowledge, and you have diagrammatically written this, and virtual slides you have seen how rhinosporidiosis appears. And once you come back, so we'll show you the slides. So you can see the slides under the microscope so that it becomes easy for you to identify. So just to summarize, so this is transformed respiratory epithelium showing squamous metaplasia, then different stages in the maturity of the organism, 4 different stages. So squamous metaplasia, remember, which indicates a chronic process. Then 4 different forms of the organism which are lying in a background of inflammatory stroma. So the trophic form, the mature form, ruptured form, and the collapsed form. Can make out all those stages? You have written it, right? Yes. See the younger the trophic form, 2, yes, with the karyosome in the center, that matures into the mature form. See, young is becoming, or it has become the mature form. Large round sporangium with lot of sporangiospores or endospores within, and a chitinous wall. Remember, so then that ruptures. So third is the ruptured form. Look at the arrow I am showing from the mature form to the ruptured form. And at the site of rupture, I have shown few neutrophils also. Then what happens? So after the endospores are liberated, we see only the chitinous wall that has collapsed. So the last stage is a collapsed form. It could appear like semilunar or even in a circular form, but we see only the outer chitinous refractile wall. So it does not have any endospores. Okay, this is background. Lymphocytes are shown, then plasma cells, occasional macrophages also have written. Then the background with capillaries, proliferating capillaries, fibroblasts, a component, all these are components of chronic granulation tissue. Okay, so that is a plasma cell, eccentric nucleus, and show you, as I told you already, make the cytoplasm pink. It will not be clear cytoplasm. Plasma cells have pink cytoplasm. Nucleus is eccentric, either has a cartwheel appearance or watch dial appearance. Yes, so they are the neutrophils at the site of rupture. Yeah, I have written neutrophils now. Clear? Okay, remember again, I am just showing you the 4 different forms of this organism. I am sure all of you have written a nice diagram of this. Was it easy? Okay, no problem. I'm going to see what you have written also. Okay, 3 marker or a 5 marker in the examination. If you draw a beautiful diagram like this and then describe and write about the organism in as points at one corner, so that should be more than enough. Okay, it fetches you the entire marks. So keep all these diagrams what you have written now, and once you come back you are pasting the same in your records. Remember that. I said 15 to 20 minutes, maybe I have taken slightly more time. Okay, probably all of you know you have learned well, and it's nice to interact with all of you. Okay, so keep whatever you have written handy so that we'll just come and ask you to show what you have written, how well you have written the diagram. I'm sure all of you have. So give us a feedback on how this session was, and well, let's try to improvise on this. And yeah, nice to be with you. Thank you. Thank you all. All of you have written so well. Okay. Thank you. Stay safe. Take care of yourself and your family. Please give us a feedback on how this was. Okay, we have maybe 1 or 2 minutes left. Please give a feedback.